All right. So, welcome everyone to tonight's Why Vote Town Hall with Karla Bailey Smith, and our featured guest tonight is RJ McCracken. And we are so excited to have you joining us this evening. If you're joining us on Zoom, feel free to chat in the Zoom chat panel. And if you have any questions, we will queue those up for the Q&A. If you're catching us on Facebook Live, feel free to comment on the post on Facebook, and we will answer those questions as we get to them as well. Again, thank you so much for joining us this evening for this important topic of rural internet access. And I am so excited to introduce to you this evening Karla Bailey Smith, candidate for District 88 State Representative. Karla?
Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you to everyone joining us tonight. This is our fourth town hall with the theme of Why Vote? And the reason for this is that it's easy to get excited and interested in a presidential election year, but many of us are still learning how many decisions are made at the local and state level that directly impact our lives. Tonight, we're focusing on infrastructure, especially rural internet access. There have been two initiatives to build up our rural internet access. One is from the federal level, sponsored by Dick Durbin. Unfortunately, for our area of Central Illinois, it seems that those grants have primarily been given to areas of Southern Illinois. Now, I'm going to show you a map of coverage in our area so we can look and see. Oh, I need to go to share screen. Okay, there we go. That one. There. So, for everyone watching, this is Illinois Broadband 2020. So this is who has high-speed access and who doesn't. So all of this pale green area is our unserved area. These people do not have high-speed internet access. And you can see this is Bloomington here. This is normal. So even this area of normal does not have high-speed internet. Twin Grove does have some. Stanford has some. Danvers, but any of these farmers out here. And I recently learned that farmers need internet access to run some of the newer planting machines because they run with GPS. And so this is critical for our farmers. It's also critical for our, if you think about our small farms, our you know, the small organic farmers, that's a small business, and they need that internet access to effectively run their small business. So this is really, really important. And let's just take a quick look all the way over into Tazewell County. I don't know if we've got anybody from Tazewell joining us live, but hopefully maybe somebody will be watching this on YouTube in the future. You can see here's I believe this is the river over here. Washington is pretty good, but then if you look at the farmland east of Washington, it's kind of that medium access. But then all of this farmland in Tazewell County, east of Morton, north of Mackinac, all of these areas do not have the internet service that they really need. Now, so the Rebuild Illinois package was signed in June of 2019, and that was signed by Governor Pritzker, and it was a $45 billion capital plan. expected to fix infrastructure, update state facilities, fund education programs, and create 540,000 jobs. And part of the Rebuild Illinois package was HB 62, which included broadband expansion. And our 20-year incumbent voted no on this bill, presumably because he didn't want to spend the money. It seems that anything that will cause us to spend money, he votes against and doesn't consider the people, the benefit, and the larger picture. This is not reckless spending. This is an investment in our future, and it fuels the overall economy. When the state provides funding for projects, materials are being purchased, more people have jobs, and the suppliers and workers have more money to spend right here in our communities. We are all connected, and I don't think my opponent sees that connection. He doesn't seem to see the people that he would help by supporting and promoting legislation that includes broadband connectivity. My question for you right now is, if your elected official doesn't support funding for these improvements and job creators, are they going to bother advocating for the funds to be used where you live to improve your life and maybe give you a job? So I'll pause for just a minute now and see if there are any questions at this time.
Thanks, Karla. Currently, there aren't any questions, but a quick reminder, if you do have questions, feel free to chat those in the Zoom chat box or comment on the Facebook Live. Thanks.
All right. I have been having county board candidates on as guests to help us learn about decisions that our county board makes. I know that with every town hall, I learn something new about what our county board members do. Tonight we have RJ McCracken. I'm so glad he's joining us tonight, who is running for McLean County Board District 3. Welcome, RJ, and please tell us a little bit about yourself and the kind of decisions that you would like to make for McLean County, especially regarding infrastructure.
Sure. Well, my name is RJ McCracken, candidate for County Board 3, right here in McLean County. I am been a resident of McLean County since 2003, and once I moved here, decided pretty early that I was never going to go because I really like the communities that I've lived in. I've lived all over Bloomington and Normal, and spent a lot of time in Hayworth in my day. So I love the area. My work takes me to every single surrounding community as an event planner for West Party, and when I'm out there, I'm just, you know what I mean, I'm with the people, and I love everybody that I've met pretty much. You know, there's always a pain in the butt sometimes, but hey, what are you going to do? So in recent years, I've increased my interest in local government. I last year worked with Jeff Craybill on his candidacy for city council as his campaign manager, and Jeff really reminded me that there are people out there who care about the people in the community. And then I went on to take the multicultural leadership program, in which, you know, something in me awoke, and just kind of like servant leadership called for me to come forward, and I just want to help out and bring that to McLean County. I'd like to start looking more forward to the future instead of trying to hold up progress right now. We'll get into that later. But if I could I touch on what you were talking about there for just a second?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Awesome. So in preparing for it, you know, you gave me the topic. I think the thing that really rings true for me is an equal playing field for everybody in the state, especially more particularly in McLean County. Everybody having the same access to the same internet and things like that. And so I want to commend the Republican Senator Jill Tracy out of Quincy, and she's one of the sponsors of the bill. It was a bipartisan bill, and I can't believe you're against someone who didn't support it, but you know, I got him. Anyway, she spoke that particularly in rural communities, it was going to be necessary because it brings, you know, as we go forward, you know, this was almost a blessing that we had this in foresight, because now we have the funds to do it. But telehealth, having people who are out in this country not having, not having to drive to a doctor's office, it really helps them out. The elderly can stay home and be more autonomous and things like that. So I think that's going to be really helpful. Education, obviously, kids are, we don't know when they're going back to school, so we've got to get everybody on the same playing field, because just because you don't live in a big city doesn't mean you shouldn't have the same internet capacity that those kids do, because you'll fall behind. Have it.
Right.
Alongside with your parents having to stay home and work if they're work from home, so now you've got that much more stress on the internet. So the final being economic development. I mean, it's only gonna lead to more expansion outside of our major cities, and kind of, right now, give us a place to put something out in the country and start making a little more revenue out there in the county so wide, instead of having them set here in the city. So,
right.
Anyway, I love it. I'm super pumped that it passed, and my priority will be, obviously, anytime we have access to make a decision at the county board level about where these funds need to go when they're allocated, it's going to be my job to fight for our outer county area.
Right. That's one of the reasons it's so important for us to understand all of these different decisions that are being made that really benefit us, our personal daily lives. I know that there are people out there who are working from home, their kids are doing their classes online, and I know that there's people that don't have enough internet speed for everybody to be doing the same thing at the same time. I know that there are families that have to stagger their online work to get through the day, because they can't all do it at the same time. So we've really got to.
If it's not schoolwork, it's kids playing video games. That takes up a whole lot more bandwidth than homework does.
Right.
You gotta be entertained, right? Otherwise.
Right.
Madness.
Yeah, and there's too many houses where mom and dad can't watch what they want to watch while the kids are watching what they want to watch somewhere else, because there's not enough bandwidth.
I don't know nothing about that. There's one remote controller and one holder in my house, but I know you know about it.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Well, RJ, I do want to just bring up a moment that I had when I went and attended a county board, specifically to speak in support of cannabis cultivating, growing, and processing in McLean County. There was a moment where there were a couple of county board members who put forth a vote. They wanted to vote no. They actually wanted to say, no, we don't want cannabis production in McLean County. So I went to speak about that, in support of that, because this is important revenue for our county. And I wanted to give you a chance to talk about that, to talk about revenue for our counties and what we can do with it.
Sure. Well, my answer is I wish I'd have been there when you were there to speak, and I wish I'd have been seated then, because I think there would have been a lot less resistance on the panel. My opponent holds a lot of sway and a lot of consideration for people. And I think the unfortunate thing that we lost out on here was time. If we had moved swiftly and acted like other counties did, have legislation passed before the law took effect on the first of the year, I believe we lost out on a lot of investors who were ready and chomping at the bit to invest in communities, invest in rural areas for growing, for the massive demand that there's going to be. I mean, at the end of the day, the reality was it was going to be legal in the state. It was whether or not we would do anything with it in our own. And so, I mean, to hold on to, reefer madnesses of the past, things like that, was something that really slowed down the progress and I think cost us a lot of money, because if you wanted to invest in Illinois marijuana, you wanted to do it on the 1st of January, because as it did in Colorado and as it did in California, you saw a massive surge of sales as soon as it was legal. And that's what we got. And even though we wouldn't have been able to draw anything for 3 months, I think that we lost out on that. The businesses putting their roots in our community. I think that was very unfortunate.
Right. Yeah, and I recall your opponent actually saying that claiming that the residents of his county board district, your county board district, didn't want cannabis production. And I have to wonder who he actually asked about that.
I mean, I suppose we'll find out in November. I'm going to make that a very vocal issue. I think we lost out on a lot of money, and I'm pretty upset about it. That's just my stance.
Yep.
Oh,
Do you want to talk a little bit about zoning decisions? Because I'm aware that Woodford County does not have wind farms, and Woodford County is drastically underfunded.
Sure. Sure. When it comes to wind farms, there's another decisive issue here. Is I'm completely in favor of them. My opponent has likened them to putting a dump on the east side of Bloomington, and I don't agree with that. I think they're beautiful myself, and even if you don't like them, the money that we raise from them has made our county completely solvent. I mean, we're not hurting right now as much as a lot of the other counties in Illinois are. Bloomington and Normal are doing well because they're responsible. And so, I mean, we make a lot of money out of them. And as we progress, I mean, I obviously would love to see the county move towards every year, renewable energy, because eventually it means our bills are nothing. So that's a good thing, and all we're doing is trying to advance. I mean, they're not nothing obviously. I'm not saying that's it, but they've greatly reduced because we don't have to destroy anything. And, you see emissions go down, you see pollutants go down and all that. And so that's never a bad problem. So. For me, that's, when it comes to zoning, on the zoning note, I would note that I don't propose that they be allowed to be anywhere near someone's earshot. If you have a property and someone wants to put I'm not in favor of that. But I mean, if you can see it from your house, I mean, I don't know. But even if they're an eyesore to you, they're generating $500,000 on a half an acre instead of. That's a big difference, and that's something that moves us forward into the future and doesn't leave us stuck in the past without bills to pay.
Right. And these are clean energy jobs, which is another thing that I support as a state representative candidate. I absolutely support the Clean Energy Jobs Act. I don't know if this will get passed this legislative session, because we don't actually know what's going to happen with the legislative session, if they're going to get together and pass anything. But that's something that I definitely support. And on one of my visits to a labor hall in Pekin, I actually met some people who work on the wind farms, and you don't really think about that. You just sort of see them out there, but there's people that have to maintain these wind farms, and those are jobs. Those are jobs for our labor union people in Tazewell and McLean County. So
they're good, and they're really good paying jobs. So
yes. And did you have anything to say about solar, about increasing solar?
Sure. So kind of like wrapped up in what we were talking about earlier in economic development and things like that. Like I've been a big proponent. There's a lot of good things happening with solar programs in Illinois right now. And so I'd be really interested in pursuing, kind of courting with solar manufacturers that are not in the area and encourage them to come where the labor is good here. We have great workers and really smart brains in our universities here in McLean County. So we have a very attractive package to give to companies, and I think that another manufacturing plant would bring a lot of good jobs to our area, and we could put it in one of our smaller rural areas just to kind of get it some space, because a solar, another factory that produces solar panels would cut down on all the, as Illinois continues to buy more and more and promote them. Now we're not shipping them out of state. We're building them here. Why not build them where we're going to use them, and then kind of, that puts us on the forefront in Illinois as a county that's, forward thinking and trying, we've got Rivian with the electric vehicle, and now we could be the electric city if we just kind of court the right people, or I'm sorry, not city, but county, obviously.
Right.
So no, I think that's really the avenue that I'd like to see us go, and obviously solar is, again, with the wind is the future thing.
Yes. And to bring it back to the internet, any of these new places that we want to build in the rural areas, they're going to need reliable, high-speed internet.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
To run a business, no question.
Right. And the funding from the Illinois, the Rebuild Illinois capital plan, the deadline for applications is June 30th. And I actually don't know if any of our local lawmakers and elected officials are trying to recruit companies to apply for this, because it's a 50-50 partnership. It's a 50% grant with a company that will provide the internet installation. So yet again, that's another reason to pay attention to who you're electing and to pay attention to what your elected officials are doing. And also, you know, be aware of the fact that you have every right to pick up the phone and talk to them or email them and ask them, hey, what are you doing about making sure that we're going to have internet access? And anybody out there who's listening or who watches this later, I encourage you, if you are struggling at home with your internet access, contact your county board members, contact your state representative, and find out, hey, what are you doing to help make sure that companies are aware that we have this need, and to please apply for these grants so that we can get this critical infrastructure in our area. So Kelsey, are there any questions on the Facebook Live?
Thanks for checking in. We do have about 5 or 6 viewers on the Facebook live stream, but currently no questions.
Okay.
So again, if you do have questions on that Facebook live stream, feel free to comment on the post, and we will make sure we get those answered.
Yep.
For sure.
Great. I know there's a little bit of a delay. So by the time Kelsey said, "Are there any questions?" it's going to take a few seconds for that to get out there, and to give people a chance to ask some questions or to tell us your story about your internet access at your home, and how you're struggling, or if you're doing okay, or and you know somebody who's not doing okay. So RJ, while we're waiting to see if there's any questions before we sign off, I'd like, you were telling me earlier about why you wanted to run. So just if you could just say that again, or you know,
Sure,
remind everybody of what motivated you to run, and then I'll do the same.
Gotcha. Absolutely. So before I get into it, I would like to do a shameless self-plug for the campaign while I'm on here. I'm selling boozy rum cakes with McCracken rum in them. That's how appropriate. Check out RJ McCracken from McLean County Board 3. You can order through the site through the end of the day today. We've got them being made tomorrow, and then delivered either your choice tomorrow night or on Saturday morning. So just in time for Mother's Day.
Yep, I ordered one.
Yeah. Yes, I'll be bringing her. My name's RJ. I'm running for McLean County Board District 3. I am a since 2003 resident of the McLean County area. I've lived all over Bloomington and Normal, and my job takes me all around McLean County, delivering and helping people set up for their events in all the cities around. If you've been under a tent in the last 7 years, you've probably been under a tent I had a hand doing something with. So I have fun, and I meet a lot of people, and I love the people here. And after I took a class called the Multicultural Leadership Program, it's definitely worth a look if you have never heard of it. Have a look, see if something strikes you. But it just kind of awoken my inner public servant, you know, and I wanted to do more than just kind of do the day by day. And so I ran for county board, and then I found out that I disagree with the guy who's been in there for 15 and a half years on a whole lot of issues. And so it was a pretty easy decision to go ahead and just say, all right, well, he's obviously an established man, you know, and he's appreciated in the community, but I think we're moving forward, and so let's move forward and build a brighter future for McLean County. That's who I
Right.
am.
Thank you. Okay, so one more time, Kelsey, are there any questions?
Thanks, Karla, for pausing again. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, but the McLean County Democrats did go ahead and share your town hall as well. So maybe you'll get some comments as questions on the Facebook Live afterwards. So thank you so much, both of you, for your time today, for sure. Yeah, and just if anybody's watching who hasn't met me yet in person, I'm so disappointed that I'm not able to do in-person events, because I really enjoy meeting new people. And I have this Zoom account for my campaign, and if you want to talk to me, I'm happy to email, to have a phone conversation, or we could set up a Zoom meeting so you can talk to me face to face about anything that you're concerned about. I really want to hear what people want and need from the 88th district. I am going to do a screen share that I had brought up earlier. Let's see, where is that? So can I do that? Actually, I don't know how to. I thought I could do this, and I can't. So Kelsey, I don't know if you can open that page that's embedded in there. So the reason that I decided to run was when I found out that nobody was running against this 20-year Republican incumbent. And I want to do a quick shout out to Moms Demand Action. Today was their virtual day of action, promoting the Fix the Foid bill. And it was honestly because a friend of mine invited me to go to a legislative breakfast with Moms Demand Action. And it was just an opportunity for them, and this was in September, and it was an opportunity for them to be seen and to actually catch these legislators, because they're notoriously avoiding Moms Demand Action. And so I went with some of my friends from Moms Demand Action to this legislative breakfast. And I sat there and I listened to all of these white Republican men talk about talking about how everything they were trying to do was to stop Pritzker from everything that he was trying to do. And so then I just thought, these guys don't represent me. None of these people represent me and my values. And then I looked up Keith Summers' voting record. And that's the thing I wanted to show you, but you can look it up yourself on Vote Smart, or Kelsey. Yep, there we go. Kelsey's got it. So if you scroll down, and you can see that he votes no on almost everything. All of those no's. So I looked at that, and the first thing I did was contact my Democratic county chair, and I said, is anybody running against Keith Summer? And he said no. Check with the Tazewell County chair. And I called her up, is anybody running against Keith Summer? And she said no. And I actually felt like it was a moral imperative that somebody needed to challenge him. So that's what I decided to do. So if you want to learn more about me,
send me a message. We're going to be working on updating our website. We're building our team. If you'd like to do some work on the campaign, we definitely welcome more people helping us with the campaign. This is very grassroots. And by grassroots, I don't just mean lots of small donations. I mean lots of people doing lots of different jobs to make everything work. And I'm sure the same is true with you, RJ. You've got a group of dedicated people that take care of different little jobs for you too. So, well, thank you everybody for coming. And if there's no more questions, then we'll say goodnight and see you next time.
Thank you so much, both Karla and RJ. The McLean County Democrats did post, and just wanted to thank you both for giving your time and talking about these important issues. So again, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.